Morning, welcome to another Thursday Thoughts. Glad you could join us. Hope you're all well, hope you're all staying safe, hope you're all keeping things together in these difficult times. Hope you have a cup of something alongside you at the moment. I'm on my espresso at the moment, it's been that sort of day. Hope you've got a comfortable chair just for a few minutes while I share some thoughts. It occurred to me that November the 26th in America this year is Thanksgiving. So if we were in America just at the moment, we'd be celebrating Thanksgiving. It's not a holiday we celebrate over here. It's a big deal over there. It's sort of akin to our Christmas, really. Maybe their Christmas isn't quite like ours. But it dates back to 1621 when the early Pilgrim Fathers celebrated a harvest supper with the Native American Indians in the Plymouth plantation where they'd settled. And then in 1789, George Washington, the first president of the United States, he instituted a national holiday on the fourth Thursday of November. It's traditionally been celebrated then. And then back in the 1930s, 1939, President Roosevelt made it a more commercial thing. He made it deliberately tried to encourage people to shop at the end of the Depression years to give traders some more sales in the run-up to Christmas. It's all about giving thanks. You know, there's the clue's in the name, isn't it? Thanksgiving, give thanks. Well, why would we want to give thanks? Well, first of all, because the Bible tells us to. It's an important thing to do. The Apostle Paul gives us a command, actually, in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. He says this: rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances. So he tells them to do three things: rejoice, pray without ceasing, and give thanks in all circumstances. Well, you may ask, how can we give thanks, in times like this, when there are people dying, when there's an international, worldwide pandemic, when there's economic disaster looming? And the Chancellor's been talking about that this week, hasn't he? People are out of jobs. How can we give thanks? Well, Professor Dumbledore in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter films and books, he said, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. Well, things to be thankful for. One, we're still here, and we need to pray for those who've lost loved ones during this time. Second of all, there's hope. There's a vaccine. And there are hopes of getting back to normal. There's some tough times ahead, as the Chancellor has spelled out to us. But there are some bigger things to give thanks for as well. There's a song that we sing in church by some Christian songwriters called Stuart Townend and Keith Getty. It's a song called My Heart is Filled with Thankfulness, and it's got some lovely words. I'm just going to run through the verses one by one and just say a few words about them. First verse goes like this: My heart is filled with thankfulness to him who bore my pain, who plumbed the depths of my disgrace and gave me life again, who crushed my curse of sinfulness and clothed me in his light, and wrote his law of righteousness with power upon my heart. You see, the Bible tells us that Jesus saves. I had a friend once who went into a cafe, and in his zeal and his enthusiasm, he shouted, "You must be saved." And someone turned to him and said, "Why?" And he said, Well, the Bible tells us that we need to be saved because we're sinful, and that sin separates us from God. And when we were helpless and hopeless and lost to God, God sent Jesus into the world to be our salvation, to live a perfect life, to die a criminal's death in our place. But the thing to be thankful for as well is that he didn't stay dead. He rose from the dead 3 days later. We were dead, and he gave us life. Jesus saves. Second verse goes like this: My heart is filled with thankfulness to him who walks beside, who floods my weaknesses with strength and causes fears to fly, whose every promise is enough for every step I take, sustaining me with arms of love and crowning me with grace. It's the second thing, Jesus comforts. When Jesus left the earth and went back to his Father, he told his disciples to stay in Jerusalem for a while until the Holy Spirit would come and rest with them and abide with them and live with them. Jesus couldn't be everywhere, but when he went away, he sent his Holy Spirit, his presence, his power, his person to be with his believers and with his people, to fill them with his power and to be a comforter to them. He called him the Comforter. And he can walk beside us in every difficulty, every trial, every temptation, every challenge that we face. He walks beside. He holds our hand and he inhabits us. He fills us. He encourages us. And he gives us peace. And the final verse says this: "My heart is filled with thankfulness to him who reigns above, whose wisdom is my perfect peace, whose every thought is love. For every day I have on earth is given by the King. So I will give my life, my all, to love and follow him." It's the third thing. Jesus reigns. In every circumstance, he is King. He reigns and he is in control. Even in the midst of a pandemic and the serious economic repercussions that are likely to come to follow it, he's in control. That's why we can have peace and confidence in him, even in the darkest times. We need to turn on the light. He is the light. Jesus is the light of the world. So three things, three big things, many things to be thankful for. Count your blessings, the old hymn says, and name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. But those three things, just remember this morning, three things. Jesus saves, Jesus comforts, and Jesus reigns. Well, if you don't know what that is and what it is to have that in your life, then we'd love you to contact us. There's contact details on the website. We'd love you to dial into our live stream on Sunday. We've got our friend Bert from Abertillery preaching with us on Sunday. Or you can join us at 11 a.m. on Sunday as well. We'd love to see you. There's a warm welcome. Take care, stay safe, every blessing. But know this and be thankful that Jesus saves, Jesus comforts, and Jesus reigns. Bye-bye.